Today we are going to learn about arrays. Arrays are very important. Arrays are used to store multiple values in a single variable instead of declaring separate variables for each value. So the way to declare an array is very simple. We could do it in two lines, but here we are doing it in one line. But it's very simple, but we have to pay attention. This square brackets means that this variable cars2 is not of type string, but of type string array. Means that in this variable we will be able to store multiple values. And what about this new word? New means that we are telling the program to allocate a place in memory, to reserve a place in memory for this variable. And the place in memory, we are specifying for the program that it should be a place that will be able to contain only string values. So that's why new string. Reserve for us, a new means reserve for us a place in the memory to store a values of type string. How many? 3. Reserve for us 3 places in the memory for this variable of type string array. Again, this square brackets means that this variable is not of type string but of type string array. And the new word means that we are telling the program to reserve for us a place in memory for this array, but that we want this place to be able to contain only string values, and we want exactly 3 places. So here we have a variable of type array that we will be able to store 3 values in it. For now, we have just declared the array and reserved a place in memory for 3 places, for 3 values for this array. But we never yet assign any value inside. So if we want to deal with our array itself, it's very simple. For example, here we are creating a new array of type string array. We call it cars3, and we assign it a value cars2. Means that every value that will be stored here, we will be able to approach it through this variable, through cars3. But here we just deal with our array. But what if we want to deal with the variables inside our array? We said that we have 3 places inside. So the way to deal with these 3 variables inside our array is very simple. We are using an index, again with the square brackets, and 0 means we want now to deal with the first place in our array. 0 means we want to deal with the first place. So here we are assigning a value to the first variable inside our array. If here was the number 2, then the Ford value would be assigned to the third place in our array. But if it's 0, so it means that we want to assign a value to the first place in our array. And also, if we want to take out the value from our array to give it to someone else, so also we are going to use the square brackets, and we are taken from our array, from the 0 first place, the value inside, and we are going to give it to this variable string of type string car of type string. So now inside variable named car will be also the value of Ford. What about cars at the second place, or cars at the third place? What's in them for now? So, well, the default value for now it's null, means nothing inside, it's null. The same way if we want to declare a variable of type int array, so it's the same way exactly. This square brackets means that these variables is not of type int, but of type int array, and equals new. The new means that we are telling the program that we want to reserve a place in memory for this array, and the place in memory for this array will be able just to contain values of type int. And how many variables we want to reserve? 4. So this means that we want to reserve in the memory a place for 4 variables that will be approachable through this variable, numbers 2. Now, let's see. We know already that in cars, in the first place of cars of our variable, there is a value. So this condition returns false. This condition means that if cars at the first place equals null, which it's not true, because we have assigned a value of Ford to the first place. So because of that, this line will not be executed, because this will return false, but this line in the else will be executed. We will print the cars at the first place. Means that we will print the word Ford. But here, this time, and also here, when we're asking if cars at the second place, if it equals null, then the answer is true. Then this line will be printed, console write line, and not this one. And also here, when we are asking, the condition say that if cars at the third place equals null, then print this. Then this will be printed because the default number in all the places for string array are null. So here, for now that we haven't assigned it a value for the third place, it's still null. So this will be printed. What about our int array, numbers? Numbers, int array, the default value is not null. For int array, the default value, of course, for each variable inside our array, the default number, the default value is 0. So here we will print 0 at the second place, numbers at the second place 0. Number at the third place is 0, and the value in the numbers fourth place is also 0. But the value inside numbers at the first place is 22. We just assign it a value. So we are expecting to see Ford, then this string text and this text, and then 22 and 3 times 0. Let us see. Right click, debug, start new instance. Ford, nothing inside second place, nothing inside third place, 22, 0, 0, 0.